Welcome to Creekside Chats with Successful Real Estate Investors, brought to you by Steve Talker Capital, promoting prosperity and harmony to help you flourish in all areas of life. Join in as we explore the motivations and goals of real estate investors and how their ability to invest abundantly has provided them with the time and freedom to contribute to the world in a creative and thoughtful way. Now please welcome your host, Dr. Allen.
Hello, enlightened investors. Dr. Allen here with Eric Upchurch, who leads the way from post-traumatic stress syndrome to funding $100 million annually for ending veteran homelessness. Eric, are you ready to inspire our enlightened investors to use their wealth to live purpose-driven lives?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you with us today. Share with us a formative experience that as you look back on it, you can say, that helped me to be the person I am today.
I would definitely say the 6 years I spent in the military was a formative time of my life. I was in my mid to late 20s and early 30s and learned a lot about myself and the human body and the human mind during that time. Definitely formative. And I also at that time pieced together a lot of not only who I am became apparent, but that there had been signs of it since I was preteen. And I got to actually now experience pieces of that, looking at that through a different lens.
You went into the military after college, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
What was your decision in going into the military, and how you just mentioned that related to aspects of your life as a child?
Yeah.
Can you tie those things together?
Yeah. So to answer your question, it was like a lot of graduates of college, it was lack of direction, I would say, but there's probably more to it than that. I've always been driven. So it wasn't a lack of wanting to be successful. It was not knowing which path I wanted to take. And so I had a conversation with my now wife. We were dating in college, and she just said, we had that 4-hour drive, I think, from, the Bay Area to back down to Santa Barbara one day. And she was like, what do you want to do now? And it all came down to, we had a long conversation and funneled it down to maybe the military is a good option for me. A lot of my family members had been either prior military or drug enforcement or FBI. My father and his twin brother were deputy sheriffs their whole careers. So I had a lot of that involvement in my life, and wasn't something that I was choosing the law enforcement path, but I knew that I liked structure and discipline. And while that sounds constraining and boring, it was exciting to me. And as a recent graduate, I thought, let me go talk to a Navy recruiter and an Air Force recruiter and a Coast Guard recruiter. And probably I wasn't really that interested in Marines, no offense, Marines, but I just knew that it was during time of war and I wanted to be as safe as possible. And I wanted to use my brain. And so that does not correlate to the Marine Corps. I'm just saying that I wanted to find a career path that was going to be able to allow me to influence people. And when I thought that, I thought to myself also, why am I thinking that way? Why did that come to my head? Why do I want to influence people? And so the correlation between this kind of moment in my life and looking through that lens to see what I had learned about myself in the past is that I've always been an influencer of people. I've always been a team leader. My first job was detasseling corn in the cornfields of Iowa, a common job for a lot of young kids in the Midwest, and a summer job. And I started out as just a regular crew guy, and then I ended up as a team leader. And as a 12-year-old leading a team, which isn't a huge responsibility, but just making sure that the whole row is picked and you can move on to the next section. So I put those two together and said, let me go talk to these recruiters and see who has the best options for me. And it came down to the Army allowed me to enlist, and most college graduates would be an officer. I chose to enlist because it provided two primary things. One, it allowed me to the military paid off all of my college debt. So instead of the GI Bill people commonly think of, I was able to have the Army pay off all of my outstanding debt already for my 4-year degree through the loan repayment program. And then secondarily, I was able to come in as a 24-year-old. I skipped 3 ranks, came in as a specialist, and I was able to go and help younger guys. And that's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to take 18-year-old and say, hey, there's nothing scary about college. You can do it. It is this scary concept to a lot of younger military folks. You think you have to be smart or wealthy or some combination to go to college. So I was able to go in as an enlisted soldier and influence a lot of people in a positive way. And so I was attracted to that. And again, just dovetail it together is I really got a sense of who I am now, who I can be in the future, and then why I have been led up to this point and really put the picture together.
So what was your college major?
Geography, actually. I wanted to originally be a topographic analyst in the Army, but at the time it wasn't available. Meteorology was also an option, but it was not available at the time. And that's typically an Air Force function for us anyway. Yeah, so geography, I flunked out of econ and had a math minor and I hated it. I didn't flunk out, but I didn't do well mentally in those classes. They were just too mind numbing. It was business economics, and I just despised it. And so I looked at all of my electives happened to be geography electives, and I still love it to this day.
That seems like an applicable degree for someone going into military service, although it's not the first thing that would have come to mind. But it sounds like it worked out well. Enlightened investors, are you passionate about the work of your calling, but have little time to develop a passive investment portfolio to secure your future? Even though you're blessed to work in your calling, would you like to have the financial freedom to live more abundantly in all areas of life? If this is you, visit us at steedtalker.com. You can schedule a 30-minute call to talk about anything or send me an email at alan@steedtalker.com. I look forward to meeting and connecting with you. You talked about your experience in the military. You learned a lot about your body, your mind, your brain. Give us some specifics in terms of what you learned about the body, what did you learn about the mind, and about the integration.
Yeah, definitely the integration of the two. Physically, mentally, and emotionally, those three kind of pillars are what I inadvertently learned a lot about. As you're just going through the motions and trying your best and doing the things you can. And you have a lot of great leaders and mentors and people pushing you physically, emotionally, mentally. And so after I got out, I was able to reflect on a lot of that and understand that the things that made me persevere were the things that now I consider my deep-rooted why. And I say this often on podcasts and just to people that I'm talking to. I serve with the memory and pride of those who've gone before me, for they loved to fight, fought to win, and would rather die than quit. So there's nothing hard about what we do now out of service as a civilian and in real estate investing or whatever else it is in life. And I don't say that to downplay the struggles that people go through. I say that to show that there's a real perspective of, hey, today we're not getting shot at. Hey, today we woke up and we're breathing. We woke up. And if I don't go out there and produce and perform and become something that is 1% better than I was yesterday, I'm failing my brothers and sisters who we buried. And I don't want to do that. And so I have that deep-rooted why, and I would urge everybody to go 7 layers deep on your why and really figure out that one thing that you would do to the end of the earth, because it's the thing that's going to get you out of bed every day when you have hard times.
Can you explain what you're talking about when you're going 7 layers into your why?
Yeah, sure. And I learned this from one of my partners, Tim Kelly, and I think it's a pretty common thing, but you ask yourself, we'll use real estate investing, right? Why do you invest in real estate? And then I'll just use a typical conversation here, because I want to be financially free. Okay. Why do you want to be financially free? I want to be financially free because then I can make my own choices. Why do you want to make your own choices? Well, I want to be able to not have to go into work and have enough income to support my mom. Well, why is it important that you support your mom? And so you see where I'm going with that. It's just asking yourself at least 7 times why, and then eventually get to a point where my mom deserves the life of her dreams because she gave up so much. And I hear people say that it comes down to a family member usually, and or something that they've lost or something that they wish someone else had experienced and they're so passionate about it. But most people just say, oh, I want financial freedom. But it doesn't really become that deep-rooted part of your DNA type of thing until you do that with yourself.
Sounds like a good process, not just in real estate investment, but how often do you take yourself actually through that exercise? Because it seems to me like that's not a question that you really answer just one time in your life, even though there may be one primary driving force. So
That's
how often
right.
do you actually go through that exercise?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to do that at least annually. You go through phases of life and in business and in family and with relationships, and your personal drive and mission can change year to year. You're probably not going to do that quarterly or monthly, but because you want to give some runway to that thought and really allow it to soak in and apply the things that you need to make it work for you on the universe.
Everybody has triumphs as well as disappointments. Can you share with us one of your most difficult setbacks and how you came through that time? And what did you learn primarily from that?
Yeah, just in life, a setback in life or in any particular industry or
I'd like you to focus upon one that wasn't just financial, it could be real estate, but one that affected you psychologically, emotionally, and probably even had effect upon your body.
one that actually that I'm going through, a setback I'm going through right now. It's probably a blessing in disguise if I really analyze it, but so I'm in a world of real estate investing and investors in multifamily and my team is doing that. But given the things that are happening in the world right now, we're taking a step back and really taking things slow this year, slowly. And I consider it a step back because you start to stumble across imposter syndrome after you're not exercising the things that you're coaching and teaching. And that's a mental thing I can break through. That's not a problem for me, but the problem is I struggle with the idea that, oh, we haven't bought that next apartment yet this year. We haven't made forward progress. But here's what's lying in the background is that we're building several amazingly successful businesses at the same time because we're heads down and can focus. While that might be a setback, the result of that is major forward progress and helping thousands of veterans and helping just constant progress with the businesses we're building. Part of that is just perspective also. And I believe the obstacle is the way. I believe that you've got to personally challenge yourself. And, to go back to one of your questions earlier about mental, physical, and emotional in the military, some things that I learned is that when you think you're almost dead, that's just your body's response in helping you to the next level. It's just your body's response saying, normally this would be a great spot to stop because your heart's beating this fast. But I constantly pushed to the next level because of my why, and because of my mentors and because of the people around me. But I learned that you're capable of so much more than you think. And you can bypass imposter syndrome and you can get to that next level if you just do the right things and you exercise the success formula that I talk about relatively often. But it takes that understanding of like saying, I am and I can, and I have it on my vision board in front of me, a big vision board with my identity statement. And I say, I am an influencer. I am a giver. I am a great father and husband. I am. And you tell yourself that. And as you're doing things in the military as well, or in business, if you keep on saying that to yourself, your mind and your body are going to put yourself in a position where you can push through that next barrier. And I think really allow you to not only help yourself and your business, but your peers as well.
I'm surprised to hear you say that one of your biggest challenges right now is imposter syndrome. I can understand you're cutting back on the actual real estate investment. It sounds like a good strategy. It's not just because of the times, but because you are building those other businesses. And it's not only a business that you're building, you're also building a huge network of organization to help people with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I want to get into that before we run out of time. But before we get to that, I want to go back to, you were talking about the why and the seven whys there. What is your big why?
Yeah, I reiterated it. I've memorized this. It's part of my being is I do these things. This is a quote. This is my why. I do these things for the memory and pride of those who have gone before me, for they love to fight, fought to win, and rather die than quit. I was the burial detail NCOIC for my special operations unit in the Army, and I buried several of my friends, several of my comrades, and just as an additional duty, it wasn't my primary duty, but whenever we lost somebody, we scrambled together a team. I had to go and carry the fake casket out in the flight line and practice, and then we had to fly to their hometown and practice at the gravesite and do the 21 gun salute and the flag folding over your friend. It's not You're not at Arlington with the honor guard. This is your buddy. And I really hold those people in high regard, and the people that came before me that sacrificed. And we talk about sacrifice as if anybody who served and died sacrificed, but they did, and their families did, and their families do. Their families are. I deployed 6 times. Every time I left, my wife didn't know where or when I was going to get back, and that's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to come back from war and try to reintegrate a soldier into their own family. That's a sacrifice. And unless you experience it, somebody who hasn't is not going to be able to understand it well. So those things really drive me, and it drives me to help other people, drives me to help transition veterans from the military to civilian life, because it's not the same. That's why veterans are killing themselves. You hear the kind of very well talked about 22 veterans a day thing, but that is because in the military, you get awards and accolades. You're told where to be, when, in what uniform, how to look, how to present, what the mission is, safety and control are in hand, and you leave the military. Oh, and by the way, you have team and camaraderie. You leave the military and that all goes away. So what does your life look like when you leave that? Really, what it looks like is trying to find a way to get that adrenaline. And that's sometimes drugs and alcohol or getting arrested. Sometimes that's suicide, unfortunately. And so it's our kind of an ancillary kind of goal of ours is just to show people that when you leave, if you find your passion in a new purpose, you're going to be so valuable as a veteran, so valuable to the civilian sector. And you just have to find what that thing is. It doesn't matter if it's real estate investing or you want to be part of a truck club or something. It doesn't matter. It's what's your passion? What's the thing you want to do? And that starts with your why. But without that, veterans are killing themselves. And every veteran we can lead to, in our instance, real estate investing or just thinking intentionally about their life later on is one life less lost.
Well, your why supports all 3 of your businesses. So just give us a real brief rundown of what those 3 businesses are. And once you do that, then give us just a brief rundown of the work that you are doing with post-traumatic stress disorder and homelessness.
Yeah, sure. Initially, we are active duty passive income is our core company. We're the premier real estate investing, the military real estate investing education community and platform in the country. And we've got tons of resources, free books. We have courses, single and multifamily courses, all the resources that a veteran or family member of a veteran would need to succeed in real estate investing, including our #1 best-selling book, Military House Hacking, which is free on our website. But then from there, it spawned, and just because we created this massive community, it spawned demand for financial services. So now we own a mortgage branch, we have an insurance company, and then a huge part of who we are as veterans, veteran owners in this business is giving back. So we have ADPI Helps. ADPI is active duty passive income. So ADPI Helps that's an acronym for helping everyone live post-stress. It's a monthly Zoom call that we have for anyone who wants to talk about personal and professional development, something to get them to that next level, whatever it may be. So we have guest speakers come in and talk about all things you can imagine, like how to get your VA benefits after you leave, to we have mindset coaches come in and talk and things like that. That's just a place for people to connect. And we have an app that we use called Voxer that has a channel in there, and we can all, if we're having a hard time, we can go in and talk to the rest of the people in that group. And that's free to anybody who's served. You can go in and get dialed in with that. So it's just a way to connect with fellow brothers and sisters in arms that have obviously served. And then as far as giving on a monetary stance, we just raised enough money to donate a house to Veterans Community Project. VCP is an amazing nonprofit organization based out of Kansas City. They built 50 tiny homes there and have moved on. And those are permanent tiny homes, slab construction, 260 to 320 square feet. And they'll house a veteran or veteran family for up to 2 years and 1 day. And now they have Longmont, Colorado is up next, St. Louis, Missouri on deck, as well as Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so they're just sweeping the nation. It's amazing.
Excellent work you are doing. So Enlightened Investors, just to reiterate, you can connect with Eric on his website, and there you can download his free military house hacking. You can also go to Amazon.com and find the book, but if you go to Eric's site, you can download it for free. Eric, let's move into our final round of questions. And so what is your best piece of advice for the busy professional who is interested in investing in passive real estate, but has never done so as of yet?
I've got it for you. This is, I alluded to this earlier, but this is the success formula from my perspective. Learn all you can. There's tons of resources out there for everyone in many different mediums, podcasts, books. It's all out there, webinars, it's out there. So learn all you can, network your butt off. There's no excuse even now to get on calls with people and just be known. So you must network. The next step is to add value. You have to add as much value to somebody as possible. If you get we get a lot of requests for, hey, I need a mentor. The best way to find a mentor is to develop a relationship. So get on a call with somebody, which is part of the networking piece, and humans will inherently talk about their pain points. So pinpoint their pain points and try to help them find a solution. That's how you find a mentor. Add value to people. And then the final piece, which none of this would matter without, is take action. If you don't take action, you will not succeed. So learn, network, add value, take action. If you do those 4 things over and over with the intention to only be 1% better daily, success will hunt you down.
Excellent advice, Eric. What is the worst one thing a novice or even a seasoned passive real estate investor should avoid?
Trying to do it on your own. Either internal teams or external teams. It's easier to do single family investing on your own technically, but you'll always need external teams, which are lawyers and contractors and transactional specialists and things like that. But my advice is to find somebody who is where you want to be and try to add value to them and build your team. It's going to make your life a lot easier and you can scale faster. Don't do it alone.
Very good. And what do you wish I'd ask you that I haven't?
What my big goals are.
What are your big goals then? Tell us.
We're going to end veteran homelessness this decade. It's a solvable problem. There's 38,000 homeless veterans on the streets right now, and that's my big goal for this decade, which will happen, and to be able to give away $1 million a year.
Eric, I have one last question. Just imagine that you have lived a rich and meaningful life, and now you are on your deathbed. As you reflect back, what memories fill you with happiness, pride, and satisfaction?
A struggle, pain, growth pain, and trips with family. So that's personal and professional kind of feelings of gratefulness. I love that if I'm struggling with business, it means there's a threshold that we're about to cross because we won't give up till it's achieved. And then with family, just it's the most precious resource, which is time. And we're doing a lot more camping and glamping and things like that with our kids and traveling around, and those are the things I really look forward to.
Eric, what an inspirational story. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you for joining us on Creekside Chats with Successful Real Estate Investors, brought to you by Steed Talker Capital. For more information, as well as access to our free ebook on enhancing your well-being through real estate investing, be sure to connect with us at steedtalker.com. As part of our efforts to make the world a better place, Steed Talker Capital contributes to activities and organizations committed to better understand the equine and enhance the humane treatment of horses worldwide. Steed Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures, great and small, flourish abundantly. Connect with us at steedtalker.com.